Well, a very good afternoon on the 10th day of January 25. I haven't loaded anything because I can't be bothered, but it's a fantastic winter's day. It's really, well, it's just everything you want, isn't it? Blue skies and you know, sub-zero temperatures and just absolutely fantastic. Warehouse number 4, but I should put a picture for, I think it was warehouse number 4 I was standing at with my little sister. I think, put the picture up, Eddie, put it up here now. There we are. That was from the 1960s. But anyway, we'll move forward. And what we'll do is we'll go for a stroll around what they call the Crieff walk. It's not really the Crieff, because the Craiffs are, well, it's an old smithy. It was an old blacksmith on the Comrie Road, not far from Dalvrack Crossroads if you're heading towards Comrie. That's the Craiffs. And so we're heading up a kind of familiar route actually. But it's a good kind of walk, this Crieff walk. I'm going to call it the Whippersnappers walk, or the Whippersnappers stroll. And I've got my trusted staff with me, but I don't really need it because there's not very slippy ground. It's very firm underfoot with the extremely hard frost. I'm quite sure the Met Office have not given us correct temperatures. I think they're telling us it's minus 12, minus 14, but they're probably minus 18 or minus 19, I'm quite sure. And especially in the snowfields up north, but anyway. We've been very fortunate with the snow. Very fortunate indeed actually. But I don't think we'll escape it entirely. I've still got a long way to go. Well, winter in Scotland can last until April. Even May in the mountains. But isn't it gorgeous, Eddie? Absolutely gorgeous. And, so you've got to keep on the move in this sort of weather. You can't really hover or sit around for too long, especially if you're out with the sunshine, you see. But 10th of January means that we're one day away from the fabulous, well, 18.7 year transition of the south and north node of the moon in Pisces and Virgo. I'm a Virgo, and Pisces is my opposite sign, of course. And well, opposite when I say that they're on the opposite sides of the astrological wheel of the year. Aries being the first astrological sign of the year, March. But isn't this fantastic? I come this way because I also want to have a chat with the old beech tree. I haven't seen it for a while. I've kind of neglected my duties in chatting to some of the trees of late. But it's absolutely superb, Eddie. I mean, it is worth going up the tops in conditions like this because they're calm. There won't be a great deal of wind. There'll be a slight breeze from different directions, but nothing special. And of course, it's very firm underfoot, so walking conditions is really, really splendid when you're up high. But it's the amount of daylight you have at this time of year means you're always coming off the mountain in the darkness, unless you set off at sort of first light, you know. But anyway, we'll go through the wicket gate. Not the wicked gate, but the wicket. Wicket for with T in the end of it, gate. and I'm actually rather pleased they've put this gate firmly closed, because this little gate was being neglected by people just wandering straight through the open gates. It's these small things that make up life very important for me. But this is, well, it's a well-known trek, but it's been incorporated into the Crieff Path network, and which I think I've mentioned before. I was part of the inaugural group that set up the Crieff Path network way back in 1998. And in case I've not mentioned it before, there was a publication made by a chap, well, let's just call it Aaron Lawson Associates, and he was paid a very handsome sum. I know the figure, but I'm not going to disclose that. That would be unfair. But the problem was, this payment was made by the Perth and Kinross Council, Bertha Council, to him. But he had collated information by attending these meetings, which I was always present at, with a selection of gentlemen from the town, which were very, let's just say, also very knowledgeable about local history. And so this chap collated all information, published it, and he got a sizable amount of money, but he didn't give us any accreditation. I phoned the council. Well, I phoned him first, actually. I said, what the hell, what are you doing? Why haven't you even put in thanks very much for such and such people who, without their help, I would never be able to publish bloody anything. And, of course, the council then decided that they, rather than republish all the bloody books again, they'd I've got a copy in the house. I must try and put it up on screen sometime. And also the bibliography of names. Is that the right word? The bibliography of names which were associated with this work, including myself. So it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was a bit of a compromise. At least we got accreditation for our work. And a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in the booklet, of course, was something which was passed down from generations and would have been lost. Most of the gentlemen on the list are no longer with us now, sadly. Anyway. So I have, yes, I've mentioned as well that the Crieff Path network was opened by Magnus Magnusson, the late Magnus Magnusson from Mastermind. His daughter Sally was a newsreader for BBC Scotland. I never watched that bloody news. I couldn't even believe that Jackie Bird got a bloody, some sort of honour from the King. Well, I mean, I suppose she's a jolly person, and but at the same time, I mean, they really are scraping the bloody barrel if they start handing out, honours to bloody newsreaders. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. You know my opinions on lots of subjects. They're not in the they're not in the same sort of mode as other people's thinking. So it was Mr. Marshall that had the this video over there. You might not see it in the sunshine, it's any other than the camera, but so here's this tree I'm coming to see. My old favourite tree. I've been here for a very, very long time, of course, and I like to just come and see him every so often. Her. She's a grandmother. A great grandmother of the wood around here. She survived every damn storm ever blew from the north, east, west or south. She's a a strong creature. Look at the size of her girth. Granny with big feet, eh? And she's got bunions, look. She's got a big bunion. But, anyway, hello there. Hey, Bubba. I'm going to sit down at your feet and I'm going to have a conversation with you because I've not seen you for a long time. Yes, she's welcomed me, she's recognised me and she says, Andy, where have you been? Where have you been, sir? Indeed. Granny, you should put some underwear on. It's not good. I'm going to put you in a home. You don't get your underwear on. Yeah, so that's the Crieff over there. In case I've not mentioned it. Let's sit down, Annie. Isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely breathtaking. I remember being in Chamonix, February. What year was that, Annie? I think it was 2017. I think it was. And the very camera I'm holding in my hand, I lost it in Chamonix. And the snow was very deep. It was probably about 3 feet deep each side of the road surface, and I was plodding along through the snow, and somebody approached me, and I took myself up into the bank to allow him safe passage past. And in doing so, I'm almost sure that my camera, which I'd placed inside my jacket pocket, had slipped right through onto the grounds. And any decent person in the world would have realised that, well, the camera was worth absolutely nothing. Not really, without all the different connections to it. I suppose you could buy them, but yeah, anyway, I thought it was very, very bad. And it was a bit of a heartache because I'd been in Grenoble. I'd flown from Edinburgh to Grenoble, and or Grenoble, in the mid-France, and then I travelled up to Annecy. I stayed in Annecy, and I travelled up to Geneva in Switzerland. And from Geneva I travelled over to Chamonix. And all the footage from the trip was lost. With the camera, of course. So a bit of disheartenment, because I remember as I walked into Chamonix, I had that song, is it Irene Cara, What a Feeling. That's what went through my mind, what a feeling. And it really was, it was just a moment to behold, because I'd always wanted to go to Chamonix, you see. So I didn't really, I mean, it was a short-lived sort of thing. I went to the tourist information place and explained my situation. They waved in the gendarme and they told me to go down and check the railway line. They gave me permission to clamber over the bloody fence. They ripped my trousers in the process, and I was standing in the bloody rail line. I thought, I don't think they understand the situation at all. I think they're trying to get me bloody knocked down my train. But I think what they thought was somebody might have picked up and then just realised it was of no use to them and discarded it over the railway bridge or something, you know. I don't know. But I never found it, and never mind, Annie. At least old grandmother or great grandmother of the woods is happy with my little tale. You know something, it won't be that long till spring, you know. Not really. I told you before that the sun the sun is definitely higher in the sky than it ever used to be. I mean, bloody January, even a bright sunny day in January when I was a youngster, the sun was lucky if it's way, way on the horizon, even at this time of day. There's something wrong. The earth is definitely tilted. It's definitely tilted. They've not told us about it, but it's definitely tilted in the last 50 years. Yeah. The sun would never have got above the Ochils. Just marginally it would have risen above, and then it would have sank in the southwest. But look how bloody high it is. It'll sink away over there. That's not winter. So that's just an observation of mine which I like to share. Goodbye. Goodbye. No, she said, don't go, Andy. Dear. Granny, will you do something about your bare bottom, for goodness sake? So I've rested myself here for a moment or two. I'm having a cigarette, you see. Because it's brilliant in the sunshine, it really is. And I'm pleasantly wrapped up, so I'm not at all cold. It's actually colder sitting in the damn house than it is outside. And I was just thinking there that I was all thinking about when you're going to make something to eat. There's always something missing from the bloody cupboard, isn't there? To match up the whole menu. There's like I mean, I don't want to hark on about bloody cooking, but just if you're making macaroni and cheese, for example, not mac cheese. Well, I had a debate with somebody recently about this. And they said to me, he says, Andy, why don't you call it mac cheese? I said, because it's called macaroni and cheese. Yeah, but everybody knows it as mac cheese. I said, no. You wouldn't say meh and tatties, would you? You would say mince and tatties, not meh and tatties. And so they kind of looked at me in a rather odd expression. And I get that often, actually. But I was thinking, if you go to make macaroni and cheese and then you've discovered you don't have any bloody milk or something to make the cheese sauce, or then you go and do something else and maybe make a sponge cake, then you realise you haven't got enough bloody butter. It's always the same. You would have to have a standby bloody fridge packed full of all these bloody things just in readiness. A bit of a waste of time, and I thought to myself, I mean, even if you decided, let's not bother with cooking anything, let's go and grab ourselves a fish supper or something, fish and chips to anybody who doesn't live in Scotland, a fish supper. And what I've found is that when you go to, in a one-off occasion, to bloody chip shop for get a fish supper, people pass and they see you in the queue and they think, they actually think that's what you do every damn day because you don't know how to cook. You don't know how to look after yourself. You're the sort of person that soils their underwear or something like that, So you stand in the queue of the fish shop, fish and chips, or a bag of chips. That's probably what they think. Oh, there he's in for a bag of chips. He must have been in the pub. I actually think that. I mean, I don't find that when I'm, up in the west coast of Scotland or anywhere else in the world. But I definitely find it in Strathairn, in Crieff, particularly. It's one of the reasons I don't carry a shopping basket either. In the supermarket. I've told you it's a money-saving episode. It's a money-saving exercise, but it's not just that. If you've got a collection of things under your elbow, they're not really able to see them quite as clearly as if they're in a shopping basket. And people in the town of Crieff They will deliberately come up and say, oh hi there, I haven't seen you for a while, and then bloody stare right into your shopping basket to see exactly what you bought. It's a very strange place. It's a very strange place indeed. So we'll march on, Annie, and just have a gentle stroll. We'll get to the Comrie Road and then we'll walk along Lovers Walk back to the car park at the distillery over here. But I'm also thinking too that whether I was just unfortunate, I don't know, it was the age group that I had brought up with, but I'm maybe thinking back into primary school as well. I mean, I don't know if children have it quite as bad nowadays, I'm not sure. But I have mentioned before that if you wore spectacles at school, you were most likely called Specky Joe or Four Eyes or something like that, or the Milky Bar Kid, something like that. But I was thinking there as well that if you got your hair cut at the weekend or something, you went to school on the Monday, everybody called you Baldy. Baldy! Baldy! And I mean, this must have some sort of impact on how you grow and mature in life. I'm sure it must have some bearing on a lot of people's sorts of insecurities in life, and mental illness and stuff like that. I'm sure it must have. It's just the thing I was thinking about. But what I was going to say, I was talking there as I came up the hill about we're one day away from the 11th of January. A very special date indeed, because I hadn't really sort of gone into any detail, but the moon and the sun, which go in one direction, all the planets go in a different direction. Well, every 9.3 years, depend on your birth sign. We're talking specifically here, Virgo and Pisces. If you imagine in the middle of the sky, there's an imaginary line where the moon and the sun are at angles to each other, where Pisces lands in the north node and Virgo lands in the south node. The last time it happened was 18.7 years ago. What's happening tomorrow, the 11th of January 25? I mean, it's not just there for a moment, it's there for quite a while. But it's a big thing. And halfway through that, 9.3 years ago, would have been Virgo would have been in the north node and Pisces in the south. But it takes 18.9 years. It's like a Saturn return that comes back every 29 years. And the sad thing about Saturn is generally, true to form, in the first Saturn return you generally lose your grandparents, and in the second Saturn return it's general that you'll lose your parents. And this is something that's happened in the history of mankind. Not always, it's not a definite, you know, but generally speaking, that's what it is. So Saturn on its 29-year cycles, from the point of view of its birth, your birth, 29.3 years later, and then another 29.3 years later, you've lost generally both your parents and all sets of grandparents. So we're at the very west edge of Crieff. I had a fantastic, I was over at Loughlin yesterday, speaking to the chap that I'd worked for him for a short while, a number of years back. He didn't recognise me, but I told him, oh yes, come I'll show you what I've got here, Annie. And anyway, I had a good blather. I said to him, what happened to the big green tower, the grain tower? Good question, he says, and he told me it got shipped off to Sweden. He says the other one was dismantled and chopped up. He says, but the big green one went to Sweden. I thought, that's amazing, but it used to sit on the skylight. Well, from anywhere you looked across to the west, you would always see the big green tower at Lochlan. Look at these hills. It's truly wonderful. So it's nice to be wandering around here with no low vibrationals in sight. And I call it the Whippersnapper Trail because there's usually some sort of children with their parents disruptive. It's a decent walk. It's not a long distance, but it's a pleasant sort of walk just to get you out and about. I wanted to get out into the sunshine today. I've been lacking vitamin D. So I won't do any. Well, let's just keep going. So, well, we don't want to make it too long, these vlogs, do we? Yeah. So there's the full moon coming up. It's a full moon on the 13th of January, and there'll be a full moon in Cancer. Of course, the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. The sign of Cancer is a very dreamy, emotional type of sign. Anyone born under Cancer will know this. This is called Crieff. The old farmhouse still stands, but the chalets that they put in, I mean, it started to blend in a little bit now, but when they first built it was awful to see it up there. And all the clutter around up at that part of the world. I mean, I said I've not loaded it, but I have touched on the subject about Crieff Hydro trying to make things for their, suit all ranges for visitors coming to stay at Crieff Hydro. So they've got lots of activities up there, but I think it's just a bit too cluttered, and I don't really like it. They've urbanised an awful lot of the countryside by doing what they've done up there. That's just my opinion. I say a lot of times that a lot of people don't agree with what I say, but I don't give a shit. Personally, sorry to be rude, but I don't really care what other people think. I just focus my own opinion, and I think that's what counts, isn't it?